to the top 5 mistakes to avoid when hiring a virtual assistant. What we're going to cover today is we're going to talk about you and what you need to do to avoid these mistakes. We're going to talk about the cost of working with a virtual assistant. We're going to talk about how to protect yourself, how to follow up. We're going to talk about knowledge, what you need to know, what your virtual assistant needs to know, and I'm going to give you a bonus tip on what to avoid. And most importantly, at the end, I'm going to talk to you about how you can hire a virtual assistant completely free, no money out of your pocket. And that's what we're going to cover at the very end, so I hope you stay tuned for that. I'd like to go ahead and tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Sheila J. Davis, and I'm the founder of Leapfrog VA Network. I started out as a virtual assistant, and after a while, I actually grew into becoming a virtual assistant coach, and that developed into also being an online business coach, as well as continuing with my branding, which is my love and my passion. I love helping with branding, logo design, graphic design, landing pages, websites, and those kind of things. So I'd love you to check me out over at SheilaJDavis.com as well for those services. But Leapfrog VA Network is a passion of mine where I help clients like yourself get connected with the perfect virtual assistant. I have a large family. Between my husband and I, we have 8 children. I have 5 and he has 3. Most of the time, though, I just spend time with these 4 beautiful girls who are at home a lot. The oldest there is getting ready to take off, and pretty soon there'll just be the 3 kids left and myself and my husband. So it's a great family, and having a large family really helps me with being able to keep organized and finding better ways for me to be able to work from home and to make my business more automated, which I can then pass on to you, the clients. I also am a speaker. I do live events as well as online events. If any of you are interested in working with me to do an event with you to talk about virtual assistants or branding or marketing or social media, I would love to come on to your event. Just go ahead on over to SheilaJDavis.com and you can find out more information about how I can work with you on that. So let's go ahead and just get started. One of the things that I don't like to do is waste time. So let's go ahead and just dive right in and talk about you and what you need to do in order to avoid these mistakes. The first mistake that a lot of clients make is that they simply aren't prepared before they hire a virtual assistant. They don't realize that they can't, the first step is not to find the virtual assistant. The first step is to take care of yourself and your business so that you can be prepared. So let's cover those things. First thing is that it's important to have a project management system. If you're not using any kind of software, it's even fine just to use like a Google Doc or something, but to definitely take the time to write down what your tasks are, what the processes are for each of those. This quickly becomes your operations manual where you can use it and anyone who comes to work for you can use it. You should have a branding manual with all your branding elements in it. You should have a marketing strategy with all of your marketing strategies in it. You should have a social media plan with all of your social media plans in it, and definitely an operations manual that will help you be organized and make sure that everything is working and automated smoothly so that your business can run without you. If heaven forbid something happened, like you wanted to take a vacation and you needed some time off, if you have your operations manual and everything in place, you can easily take some time off if you've been working with a virtual assistant. It's also really important to know what you need and what you're looking for from a virtual assistant. When you have created this project management system or your to-do list, written your tasks down and the processes, and you have everything written down, you'll easily be able to see what you need and what you're looking for. If you don't have it written down, it may just be pell-mell. You may just go out there and find the first virtual assistant that you have somebody refer you to, and that VA may not have the skills that you need. So it's important once you do these things, you write down all these things that you know what skills do they need to have, what platforms do they need to know. You'll also need to know how much time you might need a virtual assistant for, and you'll need to know, excuse me, you'll need to know how they can help you and how you're going to get your work to them and that kind of thing. So having all of that prepared. It's also important for you to know your budget, and I'm going to go over that a little bit more when we talk about the cost, but it's really important for you to know how much can you budget each month for a virtual assistant. It's also important that you actually make a plan for delegating. I've seen this happen over and over where a client will hire a virtual assistant, they'll pay for a certain number of hours, and then they simply won't give the VA any work. And so then the VA is waiting and waiting and no work is ever being passed over. And so if you have written everything down and you have it in your project management system and you have priorities and you have deadlines and you have the processes all in place, then it's easy to delegate. You can say to yourself, okay, these are tasks that I don't need to be doing, that I can pass them to the virtual assistant and pass them over one at a time and do your follow-up, and we'll cover that as well. But make a plan for that delegating and do these things before you start looking for a virtual assistant. Also, it's really important that you do your due diligence before you start looking or before you hire a virtual assistant. The first thing is to be sure and ask all of the right questions. There are questions that you need to ask, and there's some that you really don't need to ask. But I do have a list for you around this video, either below or beside this video. You should find a link for a free list of questions that I'm giving you that you can use to determine what questions you need to ask your virtual assistant. And if you've already been prepared and done all of the steps above, you'll know what questions you need to ask. It's also really important that you know how you best communicate and how your virtual assistant communicates. So that's definitely something you want to be sure and ask about. I had real estate agents that I worked for that preferred everything to be done by text. And I have some clients currently that like to pass work through Skype. I have some that send it through email. I'm pretty flexible that way. Some VAs prefer things done a certain way. I put everything into a project management system once it gets to me. So whether my client uses one or not, I use one. And I know that a lot of VAs are that way. So if it's important for you to have your project management system, join the VA into that. Everything's already there. Everything stays in that place. Then that's the way that you can communicate the best. Other clients prefer to send everything by email and have me put it in. That's entirely up to the client. So know how you like to communicate and how your VA likes to communicate. Also, do not wait till the last minute to hire a virtual assistant. If you wait too long to hire a virtual assistant, you're going to be overwhelmed. It's going to be really hard to delegate because you aren't going to be sure what needs to be done. You're going to be flailing, so it's really important that you don't wait too long to hire someone, because then you don't have time to hire them and get them the work that they need, and you're going to worry a lot more. So don't wait too long. But also it's important to follow up with your VA on the work that they're doing. So don't wait till the last minute is a really big one. Follow up with your VA. Find out what they're doing, where they are, can they take on this huge project? Maybe you decided the last minute you want to do some big project. Find out if they have the time to help you with that kind of thing. Also, if you don't hear back from a VA, try and find out what's going on to your very best before reaching out to someone else to get help. It happens occasionally, and it's just life that someone may get hurt, or a family member may get hurt, or power might go out. Like we had a lot of VAs in the Philippines who lost power for a week. You never know when something is going on, but if you don't hear back from a virtual assistant for a couple of days, reach out to me at Leapfrog VA Network. I'd be happy to give you some advice, or find another VA to help you. But be sure that you're still following up with that VA. I would give it at least a month to follow up with them. And then if they have dropped off the face of the earth, then you can decide what to do from there. But if you don't hear back, try and find out what's going on. And then just don't keep waiting and waiting and waiting. I've seen clients wait right up until the day before their launch, before they find somebody. And then they come to me and they say, I have a launch tomorrow. I haven't heard from my VA in a month. Well, that's way too long. 3 days, 4 days max. But if you have something urgent, find another virtual assistant to help you. Don't wait till the last minute. Make sure that you're getting your virtual assistant from a trusted resource. Now, I know a lot of people who will go into a group and they'll say, I'm looking for a VA. Does anybody know anybody awesome? You'll get a lot of recommendations. They may or may not be awesome. But the fact of the matter is that if they're awesome for one person, they may not be the right one for you. You need to find someone who is going to have the skills, know the platforms, have the times that you need, have the budget, work within your budget. They may need to be in a certain area. They need to have certain skills. So don't just go into a group and say, hey, I'm looking for a virtual assistant. Can you recommend one? Chances are, I would say it's about 50-50 you're going to find somebody that way. It's not the best way. Another issue with that is that if I have an awesome VA, and I've seen this happen to clients before, but if I have an awesome VA and I say, oh, you need a VA, you're a client of mine, you should check out my VA. And then that VA raises her prices and goes and works for the clients of the person who referred them. So if you don't want to lose your VA, don't refer them out a whole bunch of times. And the same thing might happen where I refer them out and then they're not the perfect fit for the client. And so then that doesn't work out and it falls apart, and then that VA gets a bad rep. So be sure you're getting it from a trusted resource, which is one reason I like for you to come to LeapfrogVANetwork.com. I don't make any money from the network, really. The VAs pay an annual fee to join the network, and I provide them coaching and training and a place for them to land to find clients. I provide them the opportunity to do blog posts, do training for clients, and give them a lot of opportunities. From the client side, I don't make a lot of money from the client side. Basically, what I've done is I was getting to the point where I had too many clients coming to me, and I had a lot of VAs who were struggling finding clients, so I created the network. It kind of happened as a fluke, which has turned out to be a beautiful fluke, and I have loved every minute. So through the network, I help virtual assistants get connected with clients. That's all I do. It's not a huge money-making thing. It is just a resource, and it's a trusted resource because I do vet my VAs. I know them, I coach them, I train them, I work with them. I have a private group where we talk through issues together. I know that they've been around for a while. They're not going to drop off the face of the earth. If they do, it's got to be a family emergency. I check their references for you, so you don't have to do that. And like I said, I trust them. I know them. I've worked with them. I actually hire some of them as interns, so they do work for me. I provide training to them on an annual basis. I have tons and tons of training for them. So there's a couple of options when you're looking at Leapfrog VA Network as your trusted resource to find a VA. The first free option is simply for you to search and contact the VAs. The VAs each have an individual page right on the network where their information is provided. You can go ahead and just contact them directly. Their email's there, their website's there. Sometimes they have their Skype name, sometimes they have their phone number, sometimes they have their social media. They have, some of them have an interview with me where I actually do an interview through video with them so you can see and get to know them and you can see how passionate they are about their business. There are testimonials there from their clients who has worked with them in the past. And there's no need to involve me. I don't get a commission. I don't get a percentage. Your billing doesn't go through me, none of that. You just contact them and hire them if they're the perfect fit for you. All of their skills and everything are listed. The very best option on the network is simply to complete an RFP, which is a request for proposal. And by completing the request for proposal, what happens is that gets posted on what we call our RFP board, or better known as a job board. We post that, and then the virtual assistants in the network are the only ones who have access. They can take a look at those. If they have the skills you're looking for, they will contact you, and then you quickly narrow it down to the top 3. Find 3 that have a personality and skills fit that you're looking for and go ahead and hire them. And that's the very best option. It's the option that I actually highly recommend the most. It's a fantastic option, and you can have a virtual assistant within a week of taking advantage of that. The last option is a paid option, and where I make a personal VA connection. What I do is I work with you. I have a half-hour consultation with you. You fill out an RFP. I help choose the top 3 VAs that would be a perfect fit for you. I tell you why I chose them, how I know them, if I've worked with them, what their references said, and then I contact those 3 VAs for you, and then they reply to you from my notification that you're looking, and then all you have to do is take those top 3 and choose the one that will work best for you. Now, once you do pay for a VA connection, you have a lifetime VA connection. So you have had several clients come back and hire additional VAs. I haven't had anybody come back and say they weren't happy. Everyone has always come back either to hire another virtual assistant or simply to let me know that they're pleased with the service. So those are the options for Leapfrog VA Network, and I would love for you to take advantage of those. Here's one of our happy clients. This is Eleanor Hardner. She contacted me through an RFP. She simply completed an RFP. I never spoke with Elena. She completed the RFP. She got, I believe, quite a few responses, and then she hired a VA who started working with her within a week of that time. So this is her testimonial. Before finding Leapfrog VA Network, I had hired on an assortment of people as VAs who sometimes fit the job, sometimes didn't. Oh, excuse me, I did speak with Elena. I apologize. We had a 15-minute free discovery session, but I did not do a VA connection with her. I simply did the 15-minute free discovery session, which you're welcome to as well. After speaking with Sheila and creating an RFP with Leapfrog VA, I had a myriad of qualified applicants send me their cover letters and resumes. After some quick interview questions via email, I found a woman who is a great fit to help take over my project management for my design company. Most of all, I found someone who I felt I could trust, was interested and passionate about working with my business as I am to working with it. I'm finally going to get to do my favorite part of the business, and I'm so excited for that. I highly recommend anyone looking for a new VA. So she was able to find someone pretty quick by using the RFP option, which, like I said, is the very best option for you. Totally free to you. The next thing I'd like to talk about is cost. Another thing I see a lot of times in groups is someone looking for a virtual assistant and then someone else posting, oh, check on Odesk or Elance. You can find someone for $2, $4, $5 an hour, $10 an hour. I do have VAs on my network who charge more than $100 an hour. It really just depends on what their skills are and what they have to offer. I never recommend paying anyone lower than living wage. I do have a lot of Filipinos, I have 11 Filipinos on my network at this point of this recording because I'm very selective about who I put on my network. And I will tell you that you may or may not get the best service for $2 an hour. So what may cost you $2 an hour, you may end up having to turn around and hire someone for a lot more than that to fix the problems that they created. Also, if you're hiring someone for $2 an hour, chances are they're not making a living wage because part of that is going to go to Odesk or Elance, or even Odesk or Elance and the company that they're working for. And by the time it's watered down, that person just isn't making enough money to live on. So they're working a lot of hours. They're really tired. It's very possible their English is not up to par. So I don't recommend it. You never know what you're going to get. If you come to Leapfrog VA Network, you know you're going to get really great people, including my Filipino VAs who are on the lower end of pricing, but they're making a living wage. And $100 an hour, that, you know, that's worth it. And that would be if you would work with someone on a project basis. So if there was something very special, very technical that you needed help with, that's not someone you would hire to help obviously do your calendar or set up your email or, you know, do regular web maintenance or set up your blog or something. That's going to be very technical, specialized skills. So what I like to do is the very first thing that a lot of people do that I recommend that you do is to set up your budget. If you set up your budget, that's how much you're going to pay for a virtual assistant. You can't look at it as far as what do you charge hourly. That's one of the biggest mistakes I see a lot of people make is they'll call up a virtual assistant, me for example, and the very first question they ask me is how much do you charge per hour? I never answer that question. And the reason I don't answer that question is because if I answer that question, they're going to think in their mind what they think that's going to cost them to hire me per month. So that's not the answer. The answer is not how much do you charge per hour. If you figure out your budget and you know that your budget is $100 a month, $500 a month, $1,000 a month, whatever your budget is what you're going to pay for a virtual assistant. Then that's what you're going to pay. So figure out your budget. Don't start out by asking how much you charge. You want to start out by asking what skills they have, what experience they have, and what proof they have. So social proof, meaning social media. Do they have testimonials? Look that person up who gave them the testimonial. Look at that person's website and make sure that they're a real person. It's not a fake person that they've given you. Also, have them send you samples of their work if that's something that they have. Most virtual assistants, like if we do graphic design, those of us who do websites, those of us who work with MailChimp and things like that, we will have screenshots or samples of things that we've done, and we'll have testimonials for you. But if you decide first what your budget is, then you have decided what your cost is. Okay? So basically, you call them up, you explain what you need, you explain your budget, and they can tell you, I can do this within your budget. This is how I encourage the Leapfrog VA Network VAs to run their businesses, because it's the way I ran mine, and it's the way I found was more effective for me and my clients. They were able to pay me on the 1st and the 15th, which works out great for me because I pay my bills on the 1st and the 15th. Works out great for them because they know what to expect, what they're going to have to pay on the 1st and the 15th. It also works out great for them that they never got an unexpected bill with an unexpected number on it. They always got a bill. They knew exactly what it was for before they got it, because you're going to pay in advance. So once you determine your budget, you've determined what you're going to pay your virtual assistant. Also, keep in mind that as virtual assistants, a lot of the tasks that we do for you are, number one, things that you don't like doing. So, and we enjoy doing. Number two, maybe you're not as good at it as we are because it's not what you're professional at. You are a professional at running your business, but we can run your MailChimp or your Aweber or set up your blog post to make it look beautiful, or fix your images to go on Facebook and make them look perfect. And we can do it faster. So it's going to be a lot less time for us to do something as opposed to you doing it. So keep that in mind. It's important to know your budget, not necessarily what the VA charges per hour. Stay tuned, because I am going to tell you how you can hire a virtual assistant for free. Here's another happy client. This is Clarissa Wilson. She says, I got to the point in my business where I really needed a VA so that I could work more on my creation and doing research to help my clients. I'm the type of person that has to be able to have a connection with those that I work with, plus know that that person I'm hiring is going to be able to do what I am asking without me having to train her on the business tasks, which would mean wasting more time. And that is exactly why I decided to hire a VA. I found a VA who I connect with easily, and she uses the majority of the programs I use. Thank you again, Sheila, for such an amazing network. I love the connection I have made. So we love those happy clients, right? So now let's talk about how you can protect yourself. When you work with a virtual assistant, you will be signing contract. If you don't sign a contract with them, probably not a good idea to do business without signing a contract. Check on some sites, like my site, when you work with me, since I'm not technically a virtual assistant, I actually have a terms and conditions that you have to agree to before I will work with you. I don't necessarily sign an actual contract. I have them sign a terms and conditions. But when you're working with a virtual assistant to manage your business, or an online business manager, or a project manager, it's important that you do sign a contract or have some kind of agreement where you can see what those terms and conditions are going to be. When you get that contract from your VA, make sure you read it. Make sure you understand it. Remember that virtual assistants are independent contractors. They have their own business. They're business owners just like you. And so that contract will protect you and the virtual assistant. Check on the contract that the rates are the same as to what they discussed with you. I've seen it happen in the past where a client spoke with a virtual assistant over the phone and was told one rate, or one rate, and then when they got an email, the rate was different, and when they got the contract, the rate was again different in the contract. So double check it. Read every single line and make sure you understand it. Also check that their hours of operation are there. A lot of clients will charge you if you contact them outside of their hours of operation, or you'll get charged a rush fee, or you could be charged for last minute work and things like that. So make sure you know their hours of operation and how they like to do business, and that's all going to be in their contract. Definitely make sure that there are deadline information. So if there's a deadline that they require certain deadlines for, like if you purchase a package of hours, sometimes that package of hours can expire. So check what the deadlines are for that. Also make sure that they are going to protect your privacy, that they have a disclosures agreement with you, so that they're not disclosing any information. They have a confidentiality agreement, a non-compete agreement, and for any extra charges. So for example, virtual assistant sometimes will charge you for consultations and sometimes will not. So make sure that you read everything in the contract and you understand everything about it. If you don't, or if you get one, you have questions about it, and we haven't done a discovery session, I'm happy to do a discovery session with you. Just simply click on the link below and schedule a free 15-minute discovery session. The next thing to protect yourself is to use something like LastPass or LogMeIn. I personally use LastPass for all of my password sharing. Sending passwords through email or by text or things like that is really not super smart. What I like to do is I like to have my clients, if they don't have LastPass yet, it's okay, they don't have to get it. I can send them a LastPass. I can share passwords with them. But if they want to share something with me, they do need to set up their LastPass with me. If your VA doesn't have it, they don't have to have it as long as you have it. So you set up a free account. I've been using a free account for 4 years. There's no need to pay for it. I think it's $12 a month if you get the paid one. I don't even know what the paid one does because the free one does enough for me that I don't even need the paid one. So what happens is I share my passwords with my virtual assistants who work for me, my VA interns, and my project manager. I share my password with them through LastPass. And when my interns no longer work for me, all I have to do is unshare that password. I don't have to go in and rechange it and try and remember who I emailed the password to, and I don't have to try and come up with 4,000 different passwords every year. It's the password sharing at will. So I share it, they use it, I unshare it. And so it's a totally secure way to share passwords. And so I highly recommend that you do it that way. Another one is follow-up. Make sure to protect yourself by following up with your virtual assistant. If you give them a task, for example, when I'll give my assistants a task to do my social media, and they let me know that it's completed, then I go in and I look at my Hootsuite and I make sure that it's all scheduled and I kind of double check it. And then I check on a daily basis. After you start doing your follow-up and you get to know the person, you've been working with them for a few months, you don't have to follow up as much. But at the beginning, it's a really good idea to follow up. Now, I have seen people say that they want to follow up with their virtual assistant by doing something like a screen share or something where they actually want to watch the virtual assistant work during all the time that they're doing work for them. And I just, how would you like for someone to do that for your business? You wouldn't. So if you're getting your virtual assistant from a protected place, from a great resource like Leapfrog VA Network, if you are asking your virtual assistant all the right questions, if you're reading your contract and you're doing your due diligence, there's no reason for you to treat the VA like an employee. Remember that they are a business owner just like you, so there's a certain level of respect that needs to be given. And if you're doing that and they're doing their part, it's going to be a beautiful relationship. But you do want to follow up and keep track of what's going on because it is your business. You want to make sure that things are being done in a timely manner. Now, whenever I give my virtual assistants work, I always give them a deadline of when it needs to be done, and then I have them let me know when it's completed, and that way I can go ahead and check up or follow up and make sure it did get done. It's also really smart not to share your credit card information. This has happened also where people will share their credit card information and a virtual assistant will, unfortunately, misuse that information. It's not something that you want to just share with anybody. So with LastPass, actually, having said that, I believe with LastPass, it is possible for you to share credit card information with someone if you use the paid version. And now I believe that this is right. So where you actually type in your password, your credit card information, send them a link to the site for whatever they need to pay, and then they can automatically fill that in. That might be what the LastPass paid version is for, but I just wouldn't do it. Anytime my client needs something, I give them a link directly to what they need to buy. I tell them exactly what they need to buy, how much they should be paying for it. If I have a coupon code, if I have an affiliate link, I give all that information, and then all they have to do is click and simply type that in. But I prefer not to ever, and I never have had a credit card number of any of my clients. So, and I know it's totally possible and you can do it too. So don't share your credit card information. Another happy client, this is Julie Lowe of Socially Aligned, and I've helped Julie find several VAs. When I got up to a place in my business where I realized that I really needed help to scale up, and that it was time to get a VA, I knew exactly who to contact, Sheila at Leapfrog VA. It was a no-brainer, really. I told her exactly what type of help I needed and the type of person I was looking for. She knew exactly who to recommend, and based on her glowing recommendation, I immediately started working with my VA, who is amazing, and she is still working with Julie, and this has been it's been more than a year. She's only been working with me for a few weeks and is doing an outstanding job. It's such a relief to have some help in my business, and I know it will make a world of difference as I scale up. Knowing that I could trust Sheila's recommendation made the entire process very easy. I can't recommend Sheila, and Leapfrog VA's service is enough. So yeah, Julie has hired a couple of VAs for me, and I know that she's trained some of them to go on and do big and better. So she has helped to help them grow their business as they've helped her grow her business as well. So follow-up, we've kind of talked about this a little bit over the last 3 tips, but let's talk about it a little bit more. So follow-up is really important, and it's also really important for you when you first start working with a virtual assistant, not to give them everything at once. So I've had this happen where they sign me into their project management system and they say, okay, find something and go do it. Well, what is better to do is say, this week I would like for you to work on my newsletter. And maybe that's all you do for a week, is you make sure that that newsletter is going out on a daily basis, or you make sure that, have them set it up for that one weekly one. You get the blog post up, set up the newsletter to go out, and then test it and make sure that that's right. And once that's done, then move them on to something else and have them set up a blog post for you, or move them on to something else and have them set up your reminder system or your scheduling system or something. So have them do one thing at a time at the beginning. You don't want to overwhelm them, and you don't want to have to try and remember what you gave them and try and follow up on everything. So it's really best to wean them in gradually, a little bit at a time, maybe the first week, 2 or 3 things that they do, or one project, the next week a few more things, and as they start understanding your process more and more and more, you can start giving them more work. But have a plan for tracking them as well. So like I've said before, in your project management system, you can put a deadline when you need the work to be completed. And it's a good idea to follow up and make sure that that work is done. So maybe set yourself a reminder to check and make sure that a project has been done or a task has been completed. But have an idea of how you're going to track it. Know what you're going to do to follow up. Also, it's a good idea to let them know when they're done. So if you give them a task, say the deadline is Friday and today is Monday, and you give them a task, well, you don't hear back from them you don't hear back from them at all. It would be better for them to send you an email on Tuesday saying, hey, that task is done. Would you like me to move on to something else? Or this task is done, or this is why it's not done, or I have questions. So it's always a good idea, even though the deadline is Friday, for them to let you know when it's done. So you're still going to check on it either Friday, or maybe since it got done today, you'll check on it today. But, just make sure that they're following up with you. But if you don't hear from them, check in with them. Don't wait. Like I said, don't wait too long to find out what's going on. If you don't hear from your VA for a few days, send them an email, find out what's going on, checking in. How are these tasks coming, or whatever. Some clients do like to receive an email, a daily email every day from their VA. Keep in mind that you may be charged for that time. So if you expect them to send you an email every morning, this is what I'm going to work on, and then every night, this is what I worked on and how it went. Just keep in mind you are billed for that time as well. So it's important for you to follow up, but to be reasonable about what is expected from the VAs. Here's another happy client. This is Amanda Goldman Petrie, and she actually has a virtual assistant business herself. She's a virtual assistant coach, and she also runs the Best Damn Biz team, which has a lot of virtual assistants that work for her. So she has some that work for her company, and then she is also a coach, and then she also has some that she hires out to her clients. And she only comes to Leapfrog VA Network to find her VAs. She has hired several VAs from the network and continually comes back because she knows that she can find someone that she'll like right off. She says, Sheila and the Leapfrog VA Network have provided amazing support for me, both as a virtual assistant looking for clients and as a business owner looking for virtual assistants to hire. I have employed my bookkeeper, my lead designer, graphic designers, web developers, and more through the help of Sheila and her network. If you need a VA, I guarantee you Sheila knows someone who will be the perfect fit. Sheila is a network expert, a kick-A virtual assistant, and an amazing chick to know. I'm super grateful for everything she has done for me and for the virtual assistant community. I highly recommend her. So we love Amanda. She comes around. She's in all of our groups, and she's an excellent VA coach. And like I said, she only comes to the network to find her VAs, even though she knows VAs all over. If she needs somebody, she contacts me. So we love Amanda around here. So okay, so for knowledge, and I kind of have covered a little bit of this as well. So you'll hear rumors about virtual assistants. You'll hear the good, the bad, and the ugly. Unfortunately, a lot of times the bad news spreads a lot faster than the good news. And part of the reason is that a lot of people are afraid to refer their VAs because, like I said before, you could lose your VA if they find another client they enjoy working with better than you, or that's willing to pay more than you. So it's important to refer your VA responsibly, but it's also important to remember that those rumors are the few. Okay, there's really a lot of amazing virtual assistants, and I'm not saying if they're not in my network, they're not amazing. I'm saying the ones in my network are amazing, and then be careful about the ones who aren't, because you just want to make sure that you do all the checking. I've done the checking for you in the network. Outside the network, you need to be sure and do that. So be careful of rumors, just like with anything else. Know who you can trust. Knowing that you can trust your virtual assistant is going to be huge. So where does that resource come from? Who is giving you the referral for that virtual assistant? And have you done your due diligence to make sure that that's the virtual assistant that you can trust? Make sure that you do everything you need to do beforehand. And we talked about that as the number one thing that you need to do is you need to get yourself ready. Make sure that you know the steps for your business. And again, that goes back to number one, having written all of that down, having your operations manual in place, your social media plan in place, your marketing strategies in place, having your brand book written out so that everybody knows exactly what colors to use, what pictures to use, what fonts to use for everything. If you have all of that written out, and then that's the knowledge you're going to pass on to your VA a lot easier if you have it all written out. If you need sales funnels, do you know the steps? It's important, if you don't know the steps to sales funnels, that you hire a virtual assistant who knows the steps. Now, there are virtual assistants who can help you by actually providing you with a bit of coaching. A lot of people who come to me for landing pages, I end up providing to them coaching on how the funnel works. If you have an opt-in page, what happens after that? Where does it go? What all things do I need to have in place? So a lot of people don't realize when they set up an opt-in page, everything that they need to have in place to make that opt-in page work for them. And so a lot of VAs do actually have online business coaching skills that they can provide to you. Online business managers are awesome. So if you know your business, but you don't know how it runs online, make sure that you're finding a virtual assistant that you can go to them and say, hey, I have a new opt-in. I need to get up. And you can tell them that, and they automatically know they need an image, they need an opt-in page, they need it to hook up to your email system, they need it to go to a sales page, they need it to go to a discovery session, they need it to go to a PayPal, they need it to go wherever they need. They're going to know every single step just by you telling them, hey, I have a new ebook. What do we need to do? And there are other VAs who are really great that if you tell them, I need an opt-in page, and I need it to connect with my email system, and I need it to go to my discovery session, and then onto my sales page, and then onto another discovery session, or to my PayPal, or whatever, you'll have to tell them every single thing, and then there are some that you don't. So if you need someone to help you fill in those gaps, VAs can do that for you, and they're a lot cheaper than working with a coach. So if you're in that window where you need to grow your business, but you don't know those steps, you don't quite make enough money for a coach, but you need help to run your business, hiring a virtual assistant who has those somewhat of coaching skills, meaning they know the processes because they've helped so many other people, then that's who you need to be looking for. So know what you know, have that written down, and know what you need from a virtual assistant and have that written down as well. And then you're going to be able to get the help that you need. And here's another happy client. This is Violet White. She says, as my business is growing, there are more and more demands on me. I was constantly spinning my wheels, feeling overwhelmed with the additional work and keeping up with technology and social media. I was quickly losing my joy in my business. I just wanted to have time to do what I love and help my clients. After just one conversation with Sheila at Leapfrog VA, I felt calm and relieved. She knew exactly what I needed and hooked me up with the perfect VA to take care of my needs. In fact, there wasn't a challenge I presented to Sheila that she did not have a solution for. However, the most important aspect of Leapfrog VA is Sheila's honesty and integrity, the most valuable commodity one can offer, and a rare find. So Violet actually came to me and asked me to help her with her landing pages. But after speaking with her, I realized that she didn't need another person. She already had a branding person, already had a website person, and already had a graphic person. So there was no need for me to help her. What she really needed was a VA to help her implement the actual steps of putting all of that together. So her web developer was creating the pages, but she didn't have anybody connect all the dots through her funnels. She didn't have anybody to help her run her actual business so that she could spend time with clients. So I helped her with that. She found the perfect VA for her, because adding another person to that web design group was not what she needed. So if you contact me to find a VA and I see that maybe you're not ready or you need something different, I am happy to tell you that. Like I said, the network is not a huge money-making thing for me. It is just a service that I like to provide, because people really do need VAs and they need to understand how VAs work. And that's what I'm here to help you with. So the most important thing I want to teach you today is how you can get a free VA. So I have a project manager who works for me, and I have 3 VA interns. So yes, it is possible to have a free VA. You can hire a virtual assistant intern. It's really important that this is done correctly. Otherwise, there is a huge misuse. So virtual assistant intern is very different from your typical everyday intern that you see, like working in corporate America. Like a lot of politicians use interns, right? The interns come in and in trade, they learn something, or they get their hands in something, or they get to say, oh, I worked on so-and-so's platform as they were running for president. Then they can say that they did that. They do it for a testimonial. They do it for experience. And so the VA intern that you hire would be a little bit different. And I've broken this down for you in 7 simple steps. And I'm offering this to you. The information is just below this video on how you can get your hands on this, the VA intern, how you can hire someone for free. So if you're saying to yourself, oh my gosh, I don't have time for another program. Well, if you don't have time for another program and you don't have time to hire a virtual assistant, guess what? This is the program for you, because it's going to teach you how to hire a virtual assistant, get your business in order so that it's automated, and it's going to do it with teaching you to do it for free. So for a one-time fee, you can then turn around and hire your interns. So I'm going to teach you what you need to know anyway to hire a virtual assistant, but I'm extending it and giving you the extra knowledge of what you need to know to hire them for free, so that you're not giving them money out of your pocket that you don't have right now. So we're going to cover in step 1, we're going to cover you and your tasks. We're going to cover the task processes in step 2. And what those 2 things are going to do is get your operations manual in place, completely smooth, working perfectly. And by having that done, me showing you step by step everything you need to do, then you are going to be able to turn around and pass that over to your VA, and they will be able to quickly and easily pick up the work that you want them to do. The next thing we're going to talk about is our skills and qualifications and budgeting and timeline. And this is the information that you need to know when you're hiring your virtual assistant. So the first 2 are about you and about your business and getting you organized. The second 2 are about before you hire your virtual assistant. These are the things that you need to know so that when you do hire your virtual assistant, while you're hiring them, everything is already in place. You know exactly what you're looking for, and you're not going to end up with a virtual assistant who is not going to work out for you. The next thing we're going to talk about is what you have to offer the virtual assistant. So you're not going to be paying them in money. You're going to be paying them in other ways. And these are ways that I have broken down that are very easy for you to do, that are not going to take a lot of your time. Yet I run my business for the last 1.5 years on interns, and I rotate them out every 3 months, and it does not take a lot of my time at all. and I'm teaching you exactly to do what I have been doing for the last year. I have a project manager who I pay. You can hire a project manager for free as an intern. And then that project manager helps you manage. So we also talk about I think I have a bonus in there. I can't remember exactly where it is, to be honest, but there is a part in there that tells you how to manage more than one virtual assistant. So let's say you need to hire one to help you with your website and one to help you with your email marketing and one to help you with graphics. I teach you how to do that without it taking more of your time. So basically, this program is going to teach you everything that you need to know to work with a virtual assistant for free. And you need to know this anyway, whether you're hiring a paid virtual assistant or a free virtual assistant. So why not make this one-time payment, and then you can hire virtual assistants for free after. And I'm going to go over the contract and trade agreement, because when you do an internship, you're the one who has to provide the contract and the trade agreement. When you hire them and you pay them money, they provide you with the contract. So in this situation, I've written the contract out for you. I've written the trade agreement out for you. It's what I've been using, like I said, for the last 3 years. And just a disclaimer that I am not legal counsel. I am not an attorney, and I do highly recommend that everyone knows or gets their attorney or their legal counsel to look over any contract that you sign before, or any contract you provide. So I do provide you with this, but you do want to have your legal counsel to make sure that it works in your current country or wherever you're living. And the last thing I cover is how to find your virtual assistant. And I actually have quite a lot of bonuses. This is just the condensed version of what you're going to see in there, because I also have 2 extra videos for you. I have downloads, I've got checklists, I've got templates, I've got the contract, and I've got loads of other bonuses for you. So there's so much included in this intern program. Now remember, this intern program is for clients. I do training for virtual assistants on their end separately, but I do have a video in here for you. So if you happen to come across a virtual assistant who is not familiar with being an intern, I have a video for you that you can download and give to them for free, that they can understand what you're asking to do with them. So if you find a VA that's awesome, like, the kid down the street or somebody who hasn't been a VA before, then you can give them this video and it'll show to them what they can expect. So I provide loads and loads of things for you. Not only that, but you'll also get any updates or changes that I do to the program as it grows and develops. You'll have full access for it lifetime. It's also, you have access to my client group only. It's called I Need a Virtual Assistant Now What? You can find that at /groups/I Need a Virtual Assistant Now What on Facebook, where virtual assistants, there may be a few. As the group grows, I may hire a few to help me manage the group, but basically this group is only for clients. You can come, you can talk about the virtual assistants, you can talk about your experiences openly, you can ask questions openly, you can say, hey, a virtual assistant did this or said this, is this true? Is this how everybody else is expecting this? And this is a group for entrepreneurs, just like you, and it's totally free to everybody. So we're welcome to join that, of course. But I'd like for you to go ahead and check out the VA intern. Just go to leapfrogvanetwork.com/intern, and you will see if it's on sale. I'm in pre-launch mode as I'm recording this, but as I move forward into the full version of it and I start getting more testimonials, the price is going to be higher. So you'll want to definitely take advantage of that. Also, just to let you know that the first 10 people who purchase the VA intern will be receiving an extra half-hour consultation, one-on-one time with me. So not only do you get the group where I'm in there and I'll answer your questions honestly and openly about virtual assistants, but you could also get a half-an-hour consultation with me. So be sure that you're taking advantage of that. There also, like I said earlier, I do have a bonus for you, which is the interview questions. And this is right from the VA intern program. Please do not share it. It is part of my paid program. This is just for you for watching this training, so that when you're interviewing your virtual assistant, you'll know what questions to ask. So be sure and check out the leapfrogvanetwork.com/intern to check out more about the virtual assistant intern and how you can hire a virtual assistant for free. And join us over on the Facebook group, I Need a Virtual Assistant Now What? Thanks so much for joining me, and let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you out there.